Hey, all, welcome to Cross Politics on the Fight Laugh Feast Network. Pastor Toby Chuck Knox, I'm the Water Boy, and we're going to jump right in with, it's been 4 years since COVID. 5, 4, 4.5?
I'm counting 5.
Since COVID, you count 5.
March 2020.
And I remember talking to so many Christians after COVID, this is kind of 2020 hindsight, saying like, man, I was way more apathetic than I realized in my Christian walk with the Lord.
COVID woke them up.
COVID woke them up.
When they couldn't go outside.
Yeah.
When they were told to put the mask on.
Yep. And I realized.
Stand 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Stand in your yellow circle.
And this goes
Don't
to like.
go to church.
Make sure you go down the aisle in the grocery store the right way.
That's right. That's right. And I purposely would go down the wrong way.
But if you wanted weed or pornography, that was available.
Yeah, or abortions.
Yeah, that was there.
And so, we've mentioned this multiple times, how grateful we were for COVID.
Right.
And it waking up us and a lot of people. I mean, even like I was just we had Joel Salatin on Water Break. That show's going to be going out tomorrow, and just talking with him about like I remember like how COVID kind of woke me up even regarding like my health and like vaccines and things that you just kind of
I was already there.
Yeah. But I was always skeptical of the vaccine thing. My kids didn't get shot when they were born, but we still got them the vaccine without really questioning later.
Us weird people were vindicated.
Thank you, Knox. But we're in this, we talk a lot, kind of post-mill, covenantal, 40-year mindset kind of thing. But we also need to kind of talk about the short run and short term, what's going on. We have about 3.5 years left of Trump. Trump's only been in office again for 5 months. We got 3.5 years left, and I think there's and I'm concerned that Christians are going to fall back into that apathy. Mm-hmm. It's in a lot of ways, I would say, Christians lost our nation because we're apathetic. You think about your own walk with the Lord. Once you stop fighting, you start falling into sin. Yep. And the same thing for your country. If you stop fighting for your country, you lose freedoms.
Right.
It's like to be free means you're fighting.
So let's show the video. I just feel like this is important. Like everybody needs to remember what actually happened.
He cut him off.
Yep, this paddleboarder was arrested after refusing to get out of the water in Malibu. CBS 2's Amy Johnson has more on the showdown near the sand.
It's a stand-up paddle pursuit.
A paddleboarder is chased down by law enforcement for being out on the water at Malibu Beach.
Oh, he faked him out. Now he's going back out to sea.
All LA County beaches are closed due to the coronavirus and social distancing after crowds gathered on LA beaches early in the crisis.
Horrible.
The incident caught on camera as the paddleboarder was taken into custody for disobeying a lifeguard, and a surfer was cited.
So
disobeyed a lifeguard.
Yeah.
We're going to arrest you.
Wow. So this actually happened.
Yeah.
In these United States of America, and yes, I said these.
Yeah.
And Malibu, California.
Yeah.
A single guy
out just by himself,
paddleboarding,
social distancing.
Yeah, like
the only person not wasting the vitamin D that's just being dropped everywhere.
Yeah, right. Totally. Is chased down by sheriffs in their Coast Guard bus or boat, and then hauled off to the clanker.
Yeah. And so there's two areas that were you pointed this out in our pre-conversation here. There's two areas during COVID that were actually successful in pushing back during COVID.
Right.
And those were businesses.
Right.
And this church.
Right.
Those are kind of the two, organizations.
Right.
That pushed back. And we didn't have enough too, of course.
Right. Tyrannical government loves individualism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
Okay. And when you're when you're an individualist and you think only in terms of me and myself and I, you are that paddleboarder.
That's right. By yourself.
Like, hey, you're having fun there for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But they're going to come and get you. And and totalitarian governments love individualism because everybody is just a bunch of little BBs bouncing around and they can herd you easily.
Yeah.
But this is actually why historically, historic political conservatism, going back to people like Edmund Burke.
That's right.
Edmund Burke is the kind of the godfather of conservatism. He called the smaller sort of molecular structure of governments, communities that we have that make up our our thick culture. He called them little platoons.
Yeah, that's right.
Your family is a little platoon, but and think of it not only in terms of your initial immediate household, but then
your church,
your extended family.
Right.
Your parents, your grandparents, aunts, uncles. The people that your kids. The families that are married into, and then yes, your church community. And your business community. And you look back at COVID, and that's exactly what we found. We found there was churches that stood up most successfully. Yeah. John MacArthur, Christ Church here, Coates up in Canada, James
Tim
Stevens, others. Though they suffered, there was
huge success.
Who was the California guy?
Rob McCoy.
Rob McCoy.
And the other Calvary Chapel Church up in San Jose, Mike, I forget his last name, Pastor Mike.
One of the early guys was also in Florida. Remember?
That was Brown.
Rodney Brown.
Remember? I mean, it was churches that were like, we're gonna push back.
Yeah.
And notice they weren't all alone.
Yeah.
They were little platoons.
Well, they had their elders behind them. They had their community behind them.
And then businesses. We followed the gym in New Jersey for a while.
Yep. Restaurants.
There were restaurants.
The hair gal in Texas.
And I mean, some of them were loners.
Yeah.
And they got targeted.
Yeah.
But there were businesses that were, again, like think of the gym. That gym was serving a community.
Yeah.
And that gym owner said, I got a business and these people need to work out. Yep. Exercise is good for you. I'm providing a service. We had what's the name of the restaurant here in Idaho where everybody went?
Hardware Brewery.
Hardware Brewery.
Yeah.
It was a brewery. It was a brew pub. I went down there one time.
Yep.
You probably went
down there a couple times to support them.
But it was a restaurant that was just like, we're not closing down. We're not.
They had the Idaho State Police come and raid them and all that crazy stuff.
But notice how those are community things.
Yeah, that's right.
The responsibility that you have to your employees, the responsibility you have to your community, the commitment that your community has to you.
Right. Yeah, I would even go so far as say is like that's a family entity.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So you got family entity and the church entities, institutions.
Families build out churches and businesses.
Right.
But those are kind of the major platoons, if you will, that build a society that makes you more resistant to totalitarianism, to statism, to tyrannical government, because then now they've got to come in and they're not bossing around individuals, they're bossing around whole communities, and now there might be some egg on their face.
And so during COVID, there was like serious oppression on those two platoons.
Yeah,
there's serious chains on those two platoons.
But they could actually push back a little bit.
They could push back a little bit, but now when things are better, and we got 3 years left with Trump, who knows what our next president's going to be. I think these are the two areas we need to focus on. Yeah. Now that a lot of the chains have fallen off, not all of them, but a lot of the chains have fallen off. And so let's double down on those platoons and build them out stronger and better.
Yeah. So then what do you think Trump is doing right now that allows us to be able to exercise more dominion in those areas?
There's a number of one-off either executive orders or policies that he's been implementing that I think kind of play into this. He's trying to dismantle the Department of Education right now.
Yep.
He can't delete it. Congress can delete Department of Education, but Trump can do things to make it unresurrectable, which is, I think, the play he's running right now.
He can't delete the plane, but he can crash the plane?
Basically. Basically. And,
wait, are we on that plane?
And there's some insider information I can't really go into on that, but that's basically the play, is to make Department of Education unfunctionable. It just wouldn't be logical and easy to resurrect under, let's say, even a Democratic administration, even though the entity still might exist. Yeah. But there's just so many burdens you can place on it to where it's just like we can't even.
You're going to share that beer or you're just going to hog it?
I actually broke the rules. I'm not supposed to be having a beer until a psalm plays.
Is there more in that cup, in that glass?
No.
You poured it all out?
I did.
Oh, but the point is that Trump is loosening up business. Now we can debate and fight over tariffs and all that stuff. And I think it bothers me that Trump's bragging about, I brought in $150 million in tariff revenue and stuff. Well, who paid for that? Mm-hmm. I mean, the American people did. There's a tax on the American people. But I would say there's some things that I think tariffs are doing in a positive way, which is hard to say, that are actually correcting some international lopsided problems in markets.
Well, the business,
it's incentivizing more American purchase.
And GDP did grow more than expected.
So it's projected, I think, to do 2.4, and it actually did 3% this last quarter.
I saw those headlines. People were kind of like, wow, so it's like whatever's going on.
Yeah. So it's a positive direction. Stock market's up.
Yeah.
Now here's what I can't square this hole or round this peg, whatever. The problem is like the stock market's doing better, which is usually a reflection of like purchase power and companies actually doing well.
Yeah.
But the middle class, I don't think is doing that well. I think they're making it, but 30%, your grocery budget went up at least 30% in the last 2 years.
Okay.
Right. So I think the middle class is being pinched still. But even the stock market is still doing well, so something's happening in the economy that still overall is positive. While I think maybe the middle class is having a difficult time.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about
house prices, and interest rates are still up.
Yep. So that all applies to the middle class.
First time
it doesn't
home
apply
buyers.
to the rich guys.
Right. First time home buyers are having a challenge.
That's right. If your eggs go up 30%, the rich guys are like whatever. If your interest rates go up 6%, well, middle class it hurts. The rich guys. You look at our
rich guys like that.
I know. I like the rich guys. I'm just saying that the middle class is going to fill the government and how the government has operated since COVID 2020. They're going to fill the problems that the government's created more than, let's say, the guys who have money. In our community, the houses that are selling right now, it's like the $800,000 above houses that are selling right now. It's not the $400,000 houses.
Tome wins the toss, chooses to receive the Bible. Patterson back with the kick. Oh my goodness!
The American church is a mile wide and an inch deep. Bigger buildings, slicker productions. We've traded shepherds for CEOs and prophets for marketing experts.
How much money did you pay for Tyler Perry's Gulfstream jet, for example?
Well, for example, that's really none of your business.
The result? Cultural surrender dressed as relevance.
Then if people get mad, they get mad at Curtis, Russell, and David.
While our cities burn with paganism, we're busy building better light shows. While Rome burns and we fiddle Led Zeppelin covers. Our fathers built hospitals and universities. They transformed nations. We can't even transform our neighborhoods. Want real change? Build strong parishes. Start classical Christian schools. Feast together. Worship together. Build communities that last. Support churches that train up generations of culture shapers. Where psalms are sung, scripture is preached, and Christ's kingdom advances. Join the Reformation.
Middle class is, if you have a house, you aren't going to flip it and sell it, buy another house, because your interest rates going to be up, your mortgage payment's going to be higher, and you're at 6% interest instead of that 2.75 or 2.85. So all that to say is, I think, but what we need to be doing right now is, I really think these next 3 years we need to, in one sense, I would almost argue, and I think that would be great. We got our real estate guys coming on in a couple weeks. I'd like to ask them this question, but I would say right now, instead of buying house, I would buy a business. I think I mentioned this on the show before. There's this book called Build, Buy, Then Build. And what he's talking about is like, buy current existing businesses. About 10,000 baby boomers are retiring today and they need to sell their business.
What's the book called?
Buy, Then Build.
Buy,
Then Build. Really good.
Okay.
I got it on my desk downstairs.
Okay.
And he's making a great argument.
Walker Diebel? That guy?
I got to see the cover. I don't know the author. I don't pay attention to those things. Yeah, that's it. His website's great, fantastic, super help. But he's arguing. He's saying, hey, look, it takes you 3 years to get. If you start your own business, it takes you at least 3 years to get it to be viable. That's kind of entrepreneurial mindset. If you start, the average is like 3 years, and if you make it past the third year, then you're probably going to be okay. Most businesses fail before 3 years.
Oh.
So
we're at year 9, you guys.
Yeah, we are. Cross Politics 2016. We haven't failed. And so what he's arguing for, with all these baby boomers retiring, you're going to be able to get a good deal on a business. A lot of baby boomers don't have the kids to pass their houses down to, pass their business down to, whatever. And so you're going to be able to get a good deal on a business. Plus, right now, interest rates for houses are like 6-7%. Well, you can get a $5 million loan from Small Business Development Agency for about anywhere from kind of that 6% to 9%, maybe high side 11%, to buy a business. And you only got to put 10% down, and you can even make a deal and roll in at 10% with equity or some form, shape or form of way, and not even put 10% down. So you could probably basically buy a business without putting any money down, depending on what you can negotiate out of it. But then you buy a business, and it's a $5 million business, and so you're probably bringing in, depending on EBITDA and stuff, or depending on the X
depending
value.
on what?
EBITDA is a accounting calculation to
you were
evaluate.
speaking in tongues there for a second.
EBITDA, yeah.
Okay.
It's I forget the acronym. It's an acronym, EBITDA. And but this business is probably bringing in $1, $2, $3 million a year. And so you can already be getting paid off that revenue. Instead of starting a business, you don't get paid. Entrepreneur doesn't get paid. You buy a business and it's already bringing in revenue. And that revenue can also pay off the loan that you just got. Mm-hmm. So I think the opportunity to actually buy a business is huge right now.
Yeah.
Everything from blue collar business to small tech companies, new products that are being developed in the market, stuff like that. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. In these next 3 years, and I would argue maybe do that instead of buy a house actually right now.
And with the idea of grow your net worth to the point where you can buy a house.
That's right. Exactly right. And the rates for getting a loan to buy a business is almost the same for getting a loan to buy a house, but it's actually bringing in revenue for you
right away, or at least in theory.
Yeah. So it changes the way you think about buying a business right now. And this is related to the platoon of being a business.
Right.
I got friends. I got one friend.
Come on, Gabe. Let's be honest.
Who has a multi-$100 million business, and during COVID, he tried to fight COVID all by himself, and he got fined for it.
Yeah.
He couldn't call the governor. He couldn't impact his city. His city fined him. I think it's local county that fined him. So he has all this money. He's managing all these employees, but he had no power to fight against his city. So this goes back. I started I wish I would have started this in 2020, but I started a Christian business leaders network called businessmakers.network. And the reason why I started is because I had a bunch, after I got arrested and my whole silly thing happened in 2020, I had a bunch of guys nationwide contact me and saying, I'm part of C12 or I'm part of Convene or I'm part of one of these Christian business networks, and they're closing down their business or they're requiring masking or they're doing the, work from home kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, I have nowhere to go to help me fight this. Do you have something? And I was like, well, I don't have anything right now. So the idea for starting a Christian business network came from a bunch of people. I had Google employees and Facebook employees. We had that too. You had that too. Contacting you. Hey, I need to get, they're requiring me to get vaxxed at Facebook. What do I do? How do I fight this? All that kind of stuff. And so I launched Business Makers Network in March. Well, and come to find out, there's a real hunger, first of all, for Christian business leaders to know other Christian business leaders.
Yeah.
Because they're starting to understand. It kind of woke them up. COVID woke them up saying, by myself, I get fined. By myself, I'm out there rowing in the ocean all by myself.
Well, these are little platoons, but they're little platoons that realize they need to be bigger platoons.
That's right.
And they need to be connected to other like-minded people.
So imagine, sorry, one more point here.
Yeah.
Imagine if we had, Lord willing, Business Makers will become such a big thing. I love it, But imagine if Business Makers Network had, let's say, 200 CEOs in Idaho that were part of this network. And then we call Governor Little and say, hey, look, we're managing $5 billion of revenue in your state. Our 200 CEOs manage about 3,000 employees in our state. Don't shut Idaho down. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that with Little, that would have been a very different conversation. With a liberal governor, it wouldn't have worked. But with Brad Little, I absolutely almost convinced that would have changed everything in Idaho. Because you have 200 together. And this is why the church actually had problems, is because we were a little platoon and not part of a larger platoon. And the churches in California and so forth, they had problems because they would try to fight their city and same thing would happen.
Right.
But imagine in Moscow, if all the churches agreed, hey, city council, you can't tell us to wear a mask outside.
Right.
That Christ Church did that,
right,
but no one else did in town. And so we were ineffective for 6 months on it.
Yeah, we were able to work at it in our city.
Yeah.
But that's about as far as we could go.
Mm-hmm.
The CREC later also adopted some statements broadly, right, but we're 130, 150 churches.
Right.
I'm thinking even as you're talking, Gabe, one of the things that you have to remember is that when our country came into existence, it was not a done deal that we were going to declare independence.
Yeah,
it was not a done deal at all.
Yeah,
there were
lots of debate.
There were many people in the colonies who said no, that would be wrong. Yeah. That would be rebellious. That would be against Romans 13. Mm-hmm. I mean, all those things were going on in the colonies in the 1760s and 1770s, leading up to 1776.
Yep.
And at least one, I think, of the things that likely was a significant
flip
push.
On that? Okay.
And you've heard me say it before on the show, but in 1775, the Presbyterians at their General Assembly voted in favor of independence.
That's right. That's right.
The year before, the Presbyterians were a relatively united denomination at that time.
And a decent size for America.
Yeah, I mean, in the Americas, in the colonies, there were many Presbyterians, and so that unity of the church. I mean, you think about we've got, you know, if the SBC, for example, during COVID had said
at the convention level,
we
represent 50,000 churches.
We stand against shutting down the country. We stand against you enforcing medical mandates on our parishioners. We stand against shutting down our businesses, and we certainly stand against you keeping the abortion clinics open.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if the SBC or even the PCA or the Roman Catholic, diocese of the United States, I don't know. Yeah. But I mean, if there were larger bodies of Christians banding together, these platoons banding together, which is, why we actually believe it's actually important for churches to be in some way connected to other churches, to have some kind of accountability structure. I think that there's the Bible leaves room for different kinds of unity structures, but I think that that's something that you think about, like when you're in this moment, how big is your voice going to be when they are coming for you in the sheriff boat, in the Coast Guard boat? Is it going to be you on a paddleboard? Better would be you and your wife and your kids. Be better you, your wife, your kids, and all your neighbors. Better yet to be you and a few hundred people at your church or in your business. Yeah. But I think you're right. We need to be thinking in terms of thousands. Yeah. That's what will stand against tyranny. Yeah. That's when you say no, and when I say no, I'm talking about thousands, hundreds of thousands. I'm talking about millions of people who stand with me, and we're not going that way.
Well, John MacArthur put out like the social justice statement, and all these churches and pastors sign on to it. That's right. It's a good example of kind of a little broader platoon on that issue. But you think of tending Christian business leaders, for whatever reason, to me, seem to be a little more wild, wild west, a little more independent of each other. But I think the desire to come together as a community is stronger now because they realized how unimpactful they were by themselves. I mean, they are, God's given them money, given them authority, given them wisdom, given them employees to manage, and they really are strategic in this battle. So if you're a Christian business leader and or an employee who's a leader in your company, it's like, man, really think about locking arms. Of course, I recommend, looking at businessmakers.network and all this, but like come together. You have so much opportunity to influence, especially over these next 3 years. I think with a little less chains on us, a little more wind in our back these next 3 years to build something that could be more effective the next time COVID, 2.0 is going to hit. And it's going to hit because the Democrats don't just they just don't do COVID, and they don't just try to steal elections, and they don't just try to assassinate your president and then, sit on their thumbs.
Right.
Like something's going to happen. Right. I mean, they just tried to assassinate Donald Trump twice.
I'm just thinking about
what's coming.
Yeah. No, exactly. What's coming. And the thing to recognize is that what is coming is going to be a media event that will pull on your heartstrings. Whatever it is,
public manipulation.
Exactly. I mean, I'm thinking if you didn't catch the Chad Jackson interview that we did, I mean, he walked through what happened was that in Jackson? Where was that in
which one?
Or Birmingham. Birmingham. It was in Birmingham.
Yeah.
The way they played that and the people in the city even tried to count, like they knew that they were trying to play in a certain way with the hoses and the dogs and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, they played it. They played it up, it happened. I mean, even this week, I don't know if you guys saw the whole thing with the Palestinian woman carrying the baby, it looked like a starving child in her arms, and it went on. I think it was New York Times. Did you guys catch that?
No, I didn't see that.
New York Times did a front page. I think it was a front page story. This lady from a Palestinian woman holding this kid who's clearly like, ribs cage showing kind of thing, and talking about how Israel is starving the Israelis are starving the Palestinians. Yeah. Now, I don't know exactly what's going on, but truth comes out that child has a disorder. Mm-hmm. The child is not a healthy child. It's not a healthy child, clearly, but it's not starvation. Yeah. At least not primarily. Yeah. That child has a disease. Yeah. But they took that and they weaponized it
against Trump and his administration.
Against whatever's this whole thing. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, they're gonna when we did COVID, when we did this, it was, do you want to live or not? Yeah. This is a pandemic, and everyone is going to die. Yeah, yeah. And so the reason why we have to arrest...
You want a dead child or a live child?
Right. And that's what they did with the tranny thing. It was the same thing. Right. It's like, do you want a
dead girl or a live son?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you have to go along with this tyranny, with this evil, or die. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's the thing that people need to remember. And I think this is actually a quote from Benjamin Franklin. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety, safety, deserve neither liberty nor safety.
That's right.
If you think this is new, this is what our founding fathers went through in order to establish this country, and they had to see through all the media. They had to see through all the smears, all the rumors. They had to see through it, and they had to say, no, this is the truth. Mm-hmm. This is right. This is wrong. Yep. This is what real liberty is. This is what the law says. Yep. And they had to make choices based on what was true and real and just, not based on what it looked like or what it felt like. But that's how they're going to come at you.
And as we said, like, if you want to be a free Christian, you have to be fighting sin daily. Yeah. In the same way, if you want to be a free American, you have to be fighting for freedom. Like, it doesn't stop.
Right.
And so here, the apathy that I think a lot of Christians had before 2020, I hope a lot of it's been repented of. I've talked to a bunch of people and they've woken up through it all and that stuff. But like, okay, here we are, 2025. Don't be apathetic. Let's keep fighting and moving forward. And so as we talked about the business being a platoon, well, I think right now also on the church side, I think planting churches is pretty strategic and big opportunities right now for two basic reasons. One is because all the churches that closed down in 2020, or all the churches that kind of compromised in 2020, I still think people are looking for a better, stronger church in their community, but they're kind of stuck.
Right.
And so I think there's that whole thing going on, but I also think there's, Trump, Christianity's becoming normal again. And so, Joe Rogan, Russell Brand, Trump just hilariously signs this memorandum today, because it's just funny to me, where he's basically just saying, hey, in the federal workplace now, you can share the gospel with your coworker again. Yeah. Literally, he says conversations between federal employees. This is his memorandum to all the heads of all the departments in the agencies, all the bureaus and all the departments. He says employees may engage in conversations regarding religious topics with fellow employees, including attempting to persuade others of the correctness of their own religious views, provided that such efforts are not harassing in nature and everything. So, and he said you can put Bibles back on your desk again. You can put religious artifacts in your cubicle
have
again.
A cross
all that
in
stuff.
Your
So
cubicle.
what was religious artifacts with the LGBT flag and all that stuff previously, that's all out. Trump got rid of all that. No more gay flags on federal buildings anymore. Yeah. But now you can put your Bible on your desk and you can preach the gospel in your cubicle now.
Right? Yeah, I hope no Christians ever follow the original order not to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
but that's a whole other problem.
Yeah, that's
they did.
But then they're going to be waiting for the president next time to tell them to do it when somebody else takes it away.
No.
Like, that's just one of the things I'm happy to go to court to argue for my religious freedom.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean?
Especially
I'm happy.
with the Supreme Court.
I'm happy to try that one.
But the problem is that we've had churches and pastors who have actually told their parishioners,
don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
You need to be a good witness. Mm-hmm. So take your Bible and put it away.
That's being a good witness.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'll just take my Bible,
I'll put my light, put under a bushel.
That way they'll really find Jesus.
But the point is about planting churches is, and I think people can do it very foolishly. the wrong people should not be planning churches. There's this whole conversation that we could have about. But I would say in some sense right now, it's like maybe apologize later. Stop asking for permission for some of these things and do it. Oh. Starting Christian school. It's like stop asking permission, figure out how to do it.
I would say either be the kind of Christians in the church that the church needs to be, or start a church.
Yeah.
That's fair. So you need to be.
You might make your church uncomfortable,
right? You need to be singing psalms. So start the psalm sing.
Yeah.
Come to my house. We're going to sing psalms on Sunday nights.
Do beer and psalms on Sunday nights at your house.
Right. And either everybody says, yeah, actually, we should have been doing this all along.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Yep. And they get on board, or they say, this is really weird, and I'm sorry, you need to leave now. Yep. And there's your invitation to start the church that's going to sing the psalms. I don't think it was an accident. I have to connect these dots, but I'm just going to say the very, very first book that was published in the United States was a Psalter.
Mm-hmm.
The very first book. I don't think that's an accident.
No.
That's great.
We were a psalm singing people.
Yeah.
And as a psalm singing people, we won our independence.
Mm-hmm.
Our freedom.
Yeah.
And I think as we have stopped singing the psalms, we have lost our independence. Yeah. We have lost our freedom. And we need to regain it. And I would say, psalm singing, but if you can't do that, then start the church. Along with that, you need to start the Christian school right after that. You need to be raising those children up in the Lord. That's your platoon. That's your army. That's what we need to be doing. Thomas Jefferson said the price of liberty is eternal vigilance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Thomas Jefferson had all kinds of problems, but he was right about that. Yep. The price of liberty is eternal.
He was surrounded and steeped in the faith.
I know. Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah, we don't get our freedom back by lounging.
Yeah, we
don't build a Christian America again. By coasting.
Yeah,
you can't be apathetic. You need to get your armor on. I mean, I know y'all got your ARs.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's like, so are you playing?
Yeah.
Or do you mean it? Are you real?
Yeah, you cosplaying?
Yeah, right, exactly. Like like don't just
you LARPing like Lig Duncan?
Don't just pretend. Don't just pretend.
You got a psalm for us.
Build. I got a psalm. Here we go. Psalm 124. If it had not been the Lord who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side when men rose up against us, then they had swallowed us up quick when their wrath was kindled against us. Then the waters had overwhelmed us. The stream had gone over our soul. And the proud waters had gone over our soul. Blessed be the Lord, who hath not given us as a prey to their teeth. Our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken, and we are escaped. Our help is in the name of the Lord, who made heaven and earth. This is a psalm of praise for great deliverance. The psalm acknowledges that it was the Lord being on our side that delivered us when men rose up against us. We would have been swallowed up alive. The waters would have overwhelmed us. Their proud schemes and wrath would have consumed us. The praise is, blessed be the Lord, who did not give us as prey to their teeth, likening enemies to predatory animals. The picture of escape is vividly described as a bird escaping the snare of hunters. The snare was broken, and we have escaped. And the psalm closes with the exuberant line, our help is in the name of the Lord, who made heaven and earth.
Amen.
Psalms like this are given to us because God's people have frequently been hunted over the centuries. On the one hand, this is a reminder not to be surprised by the schemes of evil men, whether these are singular schemes of particular enemies or the coordinated attacks of powerful regimes. We must not be surprised. They hate God, they hate his Christ, and so they will hate us too. Jesus promised this. They hate the truth, they hate the light, and they seek to destroy it, and they seek to destroy it by destroying us. So don't be surprised when enemies rise up against you at work, in your family, the church, in your business, in your community, or in the nation at large. In fact, Jesus says that you should be really worried if everyone speaks well of you all the time. Of course, you may not be a belligerent jerk and always be willing to admit when you are actually wrong and you've sinned. And the people closest to you should laugh at the thought of you being too proud to apologize because they know you apologize. But when you've double-checked that, you should not be shocked when you have enemies and you know what to do with them. Love them, do good to them, pray for them, and then trust God to protect you and deliver you from them. Romans 8 says that if God is for us, who can be against us? And of course, what it means is who can stand against us? People certainly can rise up against us, oppose us, seek to undermine our churches or businesses or families. But if God is on our side, he will rise up and he will defend us. We know this because he has done so in the cross of his son. He who did not spare his own son, how will he leave us as a prey to be consumed by wicked men? How will he not with him give us all things? And this is why Romans 8 closes with the triumphant declaration that in all these things, and these things are persecution, famine, nakedness, sword, being killed all day long, and all these things we are more than conquerors. So as you see enemies, see opportunities for your God to be on your side, to rise up and defend you and your family, your business, your church, and the truth. And when he does, you better notice, and you better burst out in this song. Blessed be the Lord, who has not given us as a prey to their teeth. Our help is in the name of the Lord, maker of heaven and earth.
Amen.
I'm not going to lie. Those psalms hit different when people are getting arrested. When trouble comes, these psalms hit completely different. Wow.
Cheers to the king.
Cheers to the king.
Cheers.
Amen. You're out of on that one. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have you some kids. If you have kids, go baptize them. Until tomorrow, love God with all your heart, all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politics.